Dear fellow learners, professors, and members of my personal learning network, thank you for taking the time to view my video reflection of my electronic portfolio, or EP as I will refer to it. My EP is located at metinteractions.weebly.com. For those that don't know me, my name is Briar Jameson. I'm a graduate candidate in the Masters of Educational Technology, or MET program at the University of British Columbia. My electronic portfolio is the capstone project for the master's program. The objective is to highlight my accomplishments in the MET courses. A documentation of my learning, this EP also acts as a curation of important articles and useful links that I can reference at a later date. Another objective is to connect my learning from MET courses to my workplace context. Finally, my objective was to recognize my digital citizenship and online collegiality. Learning does not end with the completion of the MET program. Before I outline the contents of this EP, I want to speak to the design decisions of the website itself. There are several elements of usability that I consider, specifically Jacob Nielsen's criteria for usability. First, efficiency. I've used breadcrumb links on each page to easily return to the page hierarchy. I have also included a sitemap at the bottom of each page for effectively navigating content with a big picture view for navigation. For memorability, I've decided to use icon images to visually represent the content within the pages. Another design decision was to source images that either belong to me or were available under a Creative Commons license. The open movement, open educational resources, and free cultural licenses are an important value of mine, and I wanted to model this. I have applied a Creative Commons license for this site. I further decided to keep the design using black and white for a clean and minimalist approach so that the content could speak for itself. Metaphor. The principal guiding metaphor is interactions. Terry Anderson's Toward a Theory of Online Learning broke down e-learning into interaction types. 3 of his 6 categories include learner interacting with content, peers, and instructor. In my experience with the MET program, it was all 3 modes of interaction that supported my learning. Each form of interaction provided me with rich engagement of resources, expertise of teachers for my intellectual and social engagement, and collaborative learning with my peers. Further, I wanted to investigate the concept of interaction. As a consultant for organizations implementing e-learning, I am often told by clients that they want more interactivity for their online modules. By using this metaphor of interaction, I'm learning more about the concept to inform my workplace role. Interactions beyond MET. Ultimately, the value of has been applied knowledge that has been paramount to the MET program. In the MET program, I've had a wonderful combination of thinking and doing. Over time, I became more aware of my own situated learning. I was the bridge between the course context and the context of my workplace. Indeed, each domain was in a state of constructivist disequilibrium as I integrated theory and discrete bodies of knowledge into my professional practice. With each course reflection starts with an explanation of the interaction metaphor within a specific mode of interaction. I conclude each section with how I have transferred learning to my context outside of the MET program. First, let's look at learner and content. There is an abundance of opportunities to access resources for gaining knowledge. Part of my transformation through the MET program was learning where and how to find resources beyond Google and Wikipedia searches. This may seem simple, but in a Heideggerian sense, moving from novice to master was through practice of the tools present to ready at hand. In this section, I include artifacts that show evidence of my interaction with content. Further, collaborative technologies allows us to engage with content beyond consumption. We can now be content producers. In this section of the course, my artifacts demonstrate my technical skills and my role in participatory culture. Now let's look at learner and instructor. My professors have supported and given me freedom to choose topics of interest. This autonomy is something I will always value from the MET program. The 2 courses that I've selected to represent the learner-instructor interactions demonstrate the commitment of professors to exceed Anderson's example of required skills of e-teachers. In both courses, the professors engage me in conversation beyond the restrictive LMS and the scheduled timeframe of the course. Professor Feng's commitment to my learning has made me become a more gentle instructor and facilitator. I understand from my own experience that learners want to succeed and that their absence or wanderings have many reasons. Indeed, I've become more gentle with myself as a learner too. Professor Bullen modeled online presence and commitment to practice. The impact of having the RSS feed affected my perception of the relevance of the course. I tried to emulate his online presence. Next, let's look at learners and peers. Interaction with peers happens in many ways in the MET program: discussion boards, group assignments, research cafes, and facilitated learning weeks. These collegial relationships allow me to learn with others across cultures, geographies, and time zones, and in many ways made me more aware of my educational assumptions, as well as expand my knowledge of educational practices through shared stories. In these artifacts I've selected, it shows how each group project overcame what epistemologists call the problem of the other mind. Generation of the best peer work was when team members took the time to understand each other's situated knowledge. From a social constructivist perspective, we collaboratively took the time to scaffold and reorganize new and shared information. Looking at the big picture, the Capstone Project has given me the opportunity to take a step back and look at my learning in the MET program. Reflecting on the individual courses en masse has allowed me to recognize a pattern to my pedagogical values and subsequent behaviors. Today, the 6 values that have emerged strongly for me include self-directed study activities, transparency of process, collegial relationships, autonomy in content selection, application of knowledge, and openness. My interactions with content, peers, and instructors pushed me to think differently about my pedagogical practice. I was driven to think critically about technology integration. The values that have emerged from the development and reflection of the EP informs my approach to the integration of educational technology, which I will take with me beyond the MET program. Thank you for taking the time to explore my electronic portfolio.